Let's listen.
Baby who relied on his parents for everything he needed, and it was their duty to love and protect him. Instead, he was let down in the most horrendous ways imaginable. Due to the amount of injuries Ollie suffered and medical expertise needed to examine those injuries, it has taken more than 6 years for this investigation to come to court and for Ollie's parents to be held accountable for his death. During this extremely difficult time, Ollie's wider family have had to deal with so many emotions, but throughout they have remained not only cooperative of the investigation, but extremely supportive, and I would like to thank them for this. I hope today's sentencing will allow them to start to come to terms with what has been a truly unbearable time. Personally, I would like to thank the investigation, the prosecution team, for continual effort in this case. It's taken over 6.5 years to get justice, and I'm pleased that today's sentencing has shown that to be the case.
On the 21st of October 2017, we were awakened to the sad news of Ollie's sudden death and concluded that it was probably a cot death. A day none of us will forget. After further examination by experts, we were horrified to find out there were suspicious circumstances regarding Ollie's death. The police arrested Kayleigh and Michael for questioning. This shook the family to the core. Over time, the injuries were made public and we couldn't believe what we were being told. Ollie was perfect in every way when he was born. He had been beaten badly over time and was left to die with his injuries. This was our worst nightmare. How anybody could hurt a beautiful baby was beyond words. We felt sick to our stomachs, and we have shed many a tear thinking what Ollie went through in his final days. This has changed our family forever, and we suffer mentally with these evil actions. All we want is justice for Ollie, as that is the least that he deserves. As a family, we have been dragged through hell for nearly 7 years with all the lies and deceit. Ollie will be forever in our broken hearts, and his memory will forever live on. No sentence imposed will ever reflect the heartache and pain inflicted upon my family. As a family, we will never be able to come to terms with what has happened to Ollie. We are a private family, and this trial has sadly brought about media attention we did not want. We have struggled to write this statement, as we do not want our deepest personal thoughts to be aired in public, but we know it is important for people to know how this has affected our once close family. We now ask for privacy as we try to come to terms with this devastating and chaotic period in our lives, the impact of which will remain with us forever. The Driver family.
The Driver family. This has gone very smudgy.
I am uploading that to the website, so...
Great. But I'm going to need that.
Well, that was Natasha Batstone, the family liaison officer, and Mark Parrish, Detective Inspector Mark Parrish, involved in the investigation of this case. The father of Ollie Davis, his little baby, found lifeless in his bedroom, has been sentenced to 22 years in prison. His mother, Kayleigh Davis, sentenced to 7 years in prison. A series of horrific injuries that baby Ollie suffered. We'll have more at the top of the hour. Well, good afternoon. A man has been jailed for a minimum of 22 years for the murder of his 4-week-old son. Ollie Davis died 6.5 years ago in October of 2017 after suffering a broken neck in the 8 days previous to his body being found in his room. Well, the judge said his father, Michael Davis, inflicted 37 fractures on Ollie, including 23 broken ribs during 4 separate episodes of violence. Ollie's mother, Kayleigh Driver, was found not guilty of murder, but sentenced to 7 years in prison for allowing the death of a child. Well, Michael Davis was interviewed by police in 2017 and again in 2020. Both times he denied that he'd harmed Ollie.
Are you responsible for the death of your child?
No.
Do you know who is responsible?
No.
Did you or anyone else cause any injury to Ollie that I'm going to discuss with you today?
I don't know, not me.
You said at no point during that night or at any point have you ever manhandled or mistreated Ollie. Is that right, Michael?
Yeah, I've never done anything to him.
Not even accidentally or unintentionally, I should say, in changing him, in clothing him?
No.
You're shaking your head. I just want you to be clear on that.
I'm shaking my head, yeah. No.
Well, let's bring in our Midlands correspondent, Lisa Dowd, for more. And Lisa, Ollie's body was found in 2017. Why has it taken quite so long for these two people to be sentenced to these crimes?
Well, I spoke to police earlier today regarding the length of their investigation, and they put it down to the extensive medical evidence that they had to gather. We heard a short time ago from a wider family statement saying that they had initially thought that baby Ollie had died from cot death, and they were completely shocked to find out that actually his injuries had been caused deliberately. Now, he was found lifeless in his cot back at his home in Leicester in 2017. He was taken to hospital, he was pronounced dead, and when he was examined it was found that he had 40 separate fractures to his tiny body, including 23 broken ribs. He had skull fractures, a broken collarbone, both of his arms were broken, and he ended up succumbing to a broken neck, and the injury from that may well have been caused 8 days before he died. And medical experts decided that these injuries could not have been caused accidentally. It must have been a result of prolonged physical abuse, including a blow to his head, the twisting of his limbs and the pulling of his neck. And just now we heard from Detective Inspector Mark Parrish, who spoke about the investigation.
Ollie was a newborn baby who relied on his parents for everything he needed, and it was their duty to love and protect him. Instead, he was let down in the most horrendous ways imaginable. Due to the amount of injuries Ollie suffered and medical expertise needed to examine those injuries, it has taken more than 6 years for this investigation to come to court and for Ollie's parents to be held accountable for his death.
Now, the judge said that Michael Davis, Ollie's dad, had assaulted Ollie on multiple occasions, that it had been persistent maltreatment and the attacks had been brutal, and his mother, Kayleigh Driver, must have heard Ollie's cries. She must have known he was distressed, but she'd put her relationship with Michael Davis above that of her child. We heard in court that Ollie's injuries were likened to that of a car crash victim. He would have been in intense pain when he died. And a short time ago we heard a wider family statement read out by police on their behalf. They had said that they had been dragged through hell with lies and deceit, that Ollie's death had been their worst nightmare. It had changed their family forever, and justice was the least that Ollie deserved, and they said that he would be forever in their broken hearts.
Lisa Dowd reporting there from Loughborough.